Hey guys, Matt with BAAM Ranch. Thanks for watching. So let's talk about beans and rice. Why do we store beans and rice? Well, there's a few different reasons why we store them. Most importantly, though, is because they're cheap. You know, it's the ultimate prepper food. Everybody talks about beans and rice. And the biggest reason of that is they're cheap. And they're easy to store. It doesn't take a whole lot. It's best to store them in Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers, do the whole long-term thing, and get the whole 25, 30 years out of it. But cheap and easy to store are the main reasons. Aside from that, beans and rice by themselves are an incomplete protein. When put together, they form a complete protein. They give you all of the basic building blocks of that protein nutrition, as well as, the other macro and micronutrients that are involved with them. The carbohydrates. There is a little bit of fat, and of course the protein is not an animal protein, which I think is important to have an animal protein. But aside from that, if you could do nothing else other than just put back a few pounds of beans and a few pounds of rice, pick up an extra small bag of it every time you run to the store, it's not going to take long, and you're going to be pretty good as far as your food storage when compared to the rest of the population. And one thing to remember about that is, yes, that may be a staple food if need be, the beans and rice, but they give you the ability to extend the food that you had otherwise. So if power's out and you got to start cooking up all this roast beef or many other things, beef stew, it's cheap and easy to store, but beef stew goes pretty good with rice, and so that can take that one meal and that can extend it into 2 meals, or maybe you don't quite have enough of, insert whatever meal that you're thinking of. Well, you can extend that and make that go further with beans and rice. Another thing about it is we tend to buy the small bags a lot. If we go out for the, if we go to Sam's Club, we'll get the bigger ones, but we don't go that often. Most of the time, whenever we buy stuff like that, it's just a quick trip to Walmart or the grocery store or wherever, and we just try to pick up a small 1 or 2 pound bag of each. We can throw those in a bucket, and if somebody needs something, hey, we can toss it to them. There you go. Easy as that. We just throw them in a bucket. We don't use Mylar bags or oxygen absorbers or anything like that. We just toss them in the bucket, and they'll be just fine. So the fact of the matter is, if you are able to watch this video right now, if you're able to watch this video, you have the means to go out and store some beans and rice. Beans and rice are the foundation of that. And then once you move into other grains, the other 2 grains that make up those mainstay staples would be whole wheat berries, dried wheat, and whole corn, which we'll get into in another video. But that's the reason, or some of the reasons, why we store beans and rice. Go ahead and tell me what, if there's other reasons that are important to you, let me know about that. Also, if you're going to store the stuff, you better learn how to cook it yesterday. It's not as intuitive as just scrambling an egg. So that's something you need to think about also. Until next time, put your phone down, get up, get outside, and start doing the things.